What's up, everybody? It is David here. We are back with another David Prayers video. I know it's been a minute. Just got back from performing at the Caliucci's concert. Shout out to Caliucci's. But shout out to Jesus, too.
Okay, so if you are following the story about David and Celeste, it just gets more and more crazier. Every single time you look at it, every day, things change, things are added in, things are taken out. It's absolutely nuts. So what I decided to do was to just pretty much stick to the reputable sources, the magazines, the newspapers, the ones that are reporting this story, because as of right now, it's too crazy. If you look at the content creators, that's what they're doing. They're creating content, even if the content is not really factual. So we know as of right now, September 27th, 2025, it is a little bit after midnight. So as soon as I finish this story, I'm going to go ahead and post it so you guys will know what I'm talking about. So we know that David has not been arrested. And again, if you look at other content creators, they already have David in a jail cell. They already have him pleading guilty, And honestly, by the end of next week, I'm sure he'll be asking for a stay of execution. I'm pretty sure that that's going to be happening, because again, they have to create content, even if it's not true. So for somebody that didn't know much about David, like myself, I have to go and look for information, again, that's a little bit more factual. So I did like another video prior to it, and I watched a lot of his music. But I can say he, from a young man who got his start just making, non-copywritten music, right? Creating his own music, an idea that his mom gave him so he can finish his streams, right? Isn't that what happened? And, it pretty much jumped off like that. I watched the interview. So it's like, wow, that's like a dream. That's like a dream. And he actually has a decent voice. I'm like, okay. And I can definitely see, the attraction to his music, if you will. Definitely, if you were a fan of his and maybe kind of still is and hoping that he did not do this, I can kind of see like all of that. And probably if I was younger, I probably would have been, definitely into a lot of his music. So yes, this story is very, very tragic. So we all know that Celeste Rivas Hernandez, we know that she was found dismembered in the frunk of David's Tesla. Now, to my knowledge, because I never had a Tesla, I think they're kind of ugly. But from my knowledge, it says that it has 24-hour surveillance around the entire car. So I would think, can't they see who put Celeste's remains inside that vehicle? Now, you guys, if they've already said it, I'm sorry. Please let me know if a reputable source had already spoke about it. But I would think that would be the person who did it, or at least had something to do with it, right? If there's surveillance around the whole entire car all the time, that should be easy. Now, if she was found, let's say in, dark black trash bags, the person carrying the dark black trash bags on whatever date, that would be the person, I would think. But hey, I haven't, and I've been looking for specific information, and I haven't heard anything, not at all. So I'm not sure. I'm just not sure, but you would think that, okay? So, we see a lot of pictures of David and Celeste popping up, still pics of him in a mall with Celeste going up the escalator. And of course, the famous footage of them when he was doing a stream and they were talking about Epstein Island. We see all that footage, but it's just pretty much clarifying and proving that, yeah, David and Celeste Rivas was in this relationship. It proves it, but they keep wanting to show these pictures of Celeste and David together. And I just stick with the basic ones because I know now they have a lot of Al videos. I call it Al, but they have a lot of AI videos and AI pictures that are out. So it's not cool. There's even an AI video of, again, David crying inside a jail cell. I mean, come on. And people click it on. But I understand it's a monetary thing. Doesn't matter if you make up these damn lies. It just doesn't matter. Again, it's a monetary thing. But, you know, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me if you're trying to be like a reporter or a truthful content creator that's telling the truth. But I get it. That's not what people are really trying to do. So, you know, they're just trying to, I guess, get views, right? And put shit out there, which again is unfortunate. But thank goodness we know that the authorities, they don't look at those certain type of things for evidence. Oh, and trust and believe the authorities, the feds, the FBI, whatever you want to call them, they do look at certain content creators to get information, they do. But I doubt if things where you have a video of David already in a jail cell in an orange suit, you know, that's not gonna cut it. But I don't think that's what they're trying to do anyway. Okay, so Celeste's remains were found on September 8th. That'd be the day after she would have turned 15 years old on her birthday, September 7th. And we know as of right now, definitely, and also according to People Magazine, I got a lot of this information from People Magazine. You know, again, David has not been arrested. He is not even a suspect publicly, okay? And I will repeat myself again. He's not even a suspect publicly. So however the authorities feel about him privately, they have not said anything publicly. Now, speculations that Celeste may have been pregnant as well. Okay. However, still right now, that is still just a speculation. Okay. It would fit in very good with reasons for why Celeste may have been murdered, right? If she was pregnant, because then they would have found out that Celeste was, you know, being involved. I'm going to just say romantically, being involved with this older man. Okay. I didn't want to say the S word because sometimes my videos will get like flagged or something. So we know that she was involved with him, okay? And that's why it would kind of fit. But if she had been with him from what? Like the time she was 12, 13, you know, and then 14? So she had been with him for like 3 years, right? And I did hear she ran away 2 to 3 different times. And there was even a video where June of 2024, if I'm saying it correctly, that she went to go visit her family. And this was supposed to be around the time that she ran away. So it seems that they kind of maybe had an idea of where Celeste was, is what I'm thinking. Okay, again, everything right there is speculation. Definitely. But again, a lot of people are running with the fact that she was pregnant. There was even saying that baby remains was found, you know, on the property. And that right now has not been publicly mentioned by authorities. Now, that claim had actually came from Twitter, formerly known as X, where over 2.5 million, wow, right? Over 2.5 million people had followed this single post and, of course, shared it, saying that Celeste was pregnant. No one has said that. No one has said that. Now, yes, I also do remember seeing a text message where both Celeste and David were talking about her being pregnant, but the authorities, the ones that had did the autopsy, no one has said yet that David and Celeste were expecting a child or that Celeste was pregnant. No one has said that. You know, people are even saying that this is another reason why Celeste was murdered, because she had been involved with Gustavo, right? She had been involved with him, another dude that may have got a hold of her in the beginning. She may have been abused by Gustavo in the beginning. That's what they're saying. And people say, no, Gustavo had already been deceased by that time. So it's so many different branches of this story. It's absolutely nuts. It is. But I have to say again, that pregnant situation, besides that text message that everybody's seen on David's social media, or Celeste, one of those, that was, somebody had posted that on X, and it may again not be factual at all. The authorities have said absolutely nothing about that. Nothing. So you have to be careful with that. All right. I also was looking at a content creator that said that Celeste, okay, that Celeste Hernandez, okay, had actually killed Rivas. Yeah. Excuse me, guys. I got it slightly confused. Celeste Herrera, okay? Celeste Rivas Hernandez is the unfortunate murdered young girl. They're saying that Celeste Herrera had murdered Rivas. Yeah, the two Celestes. And you know what? I didn't even bother to finish the video because I didn't care to know. It sounded crazy. Just more people, like I said, they're content creators. They're going to create something, whether or not it's truth or not, to get that money, to get those views, to add in a new situation. They're going to say whatever they like. So it's up to you to, take whatever they're saying, again, with a grain of salt, So that's pretty much what I want to say about that. You just got to be easy. Again, I don't know why people say things. Now, the last thing I honestly heard about this situation was that they were looking for Marky next door, his bodyguard. And when I looked for that information, if they are, they haven't really said too much about it. A lot of people were putting it on him. Because, yes, I did also hear out of David's own mouth how he said that his bodyguard will do anything for him. So now people are saying maybe he had something to do with the dismemberment of Celeste, okay? So now we have the bodyguard, and now we have Celeste. It's ridiculous, We also have I've seen people fighting in the comments say, oh, he never dated Rivas. He was always with Hernandez, and though they do look similar, that's what people were saying. But it's pretty easy to say that he was definitely with Rivas. Very easy. That's not like something you could say, oh, they were just friends. They were just hanging out. I doubt very seriously if that's all that they were doing, was hanging out. However, the body was released to the family, that we know that, and a funeral will take place October 4th, all right? And we already know that they had the visual a couple days ago, all right? So I'm going to just leave you with, once again, the police have not given any information out. Authorities have not given any information out. Whatever you hear is just creators saying whatever they want to say to continue the story, because then the story would be dry. We'll just be sitting here waiting for something to say. So if you just find that type of stuff entertaining, check it out. I'm not going to stop people from, making their money, but I want to really know what happened. I don't want the BS. I really want to know who did this to this little girl. I really want to know. I want to know, was it the singer? Was it the bodyguard? Was it somebody else? Were they all in cahoots together? I really want to know. I am so invested in finding out, and definitely justice for this little girl. That is horrible. That is horrible. Even if she was a frequent runaway, as we see that she was, for whatever reasons of why she was running away from home, we don't really know why she was running away. Sometimes, you just run away because you want to be grown. Who knows? But however, to end up like that, to have to be given back to your family, basically in pieces, that's not a good look. That's not a good look at all. It's terrible. But you got to understand that police and authorities, they wouldn't just leak out anything. They wouldn't say, oh, yeah, she was pregnant. They would not say that. Not at all. Because they're trying to build a case. So why the hell would they say that? I don't even think they would tell the family. I don't, because it might hurt the case. If somebody in the family knew, they might slip and say, oh, yeah, Well, my daughter, my sister, my cousin, she was pregnant by David. If they actually knew this information as being factual, you can mess up a case. And they're trying to build a case. I'm pretty sure, well, I can't say I'm pretty sure, but I think the cops know, perhaps who did it. But again, you still have to build up a case. That's what I'm guessing. I'm guessing, or they may not know. But again, they can't just give out information because, we just want to know. We just want to know. They can't. And before I go, okay, I don't know how many people have been following the Diddy case. When I was growing up, we called him Puffy, and then it changed so many names to Diddy. Okay, but it reminds me of Sean Combs's case. Okay, because if you remember, and if you were following that case, remember, content creators had Sean Combs with celebrities like Ellen and Oprah and Justin Bieber and so many other people, Usher. They had all these celebrities like they were sacrificing kids, right? And sharing kids. And this is why Ellen and her wife dipped out of America and went to the UK. No, they did it because they didn't like the president, okay? To be honest with you, that is why. That's why many celebrities have left. I wish I could have left. But that's a whole nother story. It's a whole nother story. But anyway, I'm just saying that is, they were making all this stuff up, even to the fact that they were saying children was involved in this situation. Now, let me tell you, I knew a lot about Diddy. Diddy is a little bit older than me, but I grew up with that music, the Biggie Pac era, and I will tell you, he was a little weird back then, a little strange. He wasn't the sexiest person around, but I always thought he was just odd, like corny, like seriously, like corny. And then when he got a little bit older, still corny, but I never knew him to be with children. I'm not talking about a girl 17 and 18, but actual kids like 7 and 8. I never knew that to be him. But if you remember, these content creators, that's what they were saying. And that was not true. And if you watched the actual court case like I did, man, it was almost boring, right? He had like 2 or 3 women, Cassie being one of them. And yes, he was violent in some situations, very violent, very jealous type person. But he would phone up escorts, and the escorts would come in, and he would watch like the escorts bang him out, right? He would watch that, go ahead and jack himself in the corner, with all the body oil, and yeah, this is what he was doing. Okay, now please, okay, guys. Everyone's over 21 in here, right? Okay, that's not even freaky to me. It's not. If you are a man or a woman and you want to sit there and watch, your jump off, bang somebody else, that was live, PRON, if you will. Okay, so if you want to sit there and watch that kind of stuff, I mean, that's up to you. Nothing that they said was actually freaky. Nothing. The baby oil, nothing was. The mask that he wore, of course he's going to wear a mask. He didn't want people to know that was him. He didn't want that. Again, it just wasn't freaky to me. It just wasn't. It was, to me, like a waste of time. That's what a lot of people thought. I thought it was going to be some real shit. Like, I thought, they were going to link him. And that's another thing I heard, they were linking him to, the Tupac situation. Someone had got arrested. The house was raided. Then you don't hear shit again. Then I thought they was linking him to the big situation. That didn't even happen. So, yeah, that trial was a little bit boring. And I think next week as well, he goes for his sentencing. A little bit boring. But again, I just tried to, bring those two together for a comparison. Like, they hyped the trial up. They hyped it up. And then when you seen the trial, it didn't add up to the hype. Okay? But this situation is slightly different in the sense where we have a person that was actually murdered and found inside David's vehicle. So those two situations are kind of different, but the content creator creating stuff is very much the same.